hastes during leisure, halts during dread, and flies during contemplation. However, those periods merely include small bursts of time. Minutes, hours, maybe even a couple of days. But never decades, centuries, or millennia. While we may, thankfully, never have to experience that horrible amount of time, through the events of Tears of the Kingdom and the revival of Demon King Ganondorf, she did.
You must.
To quickly preface, prior to the events of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the second Great Calamity occurs, in which the hero, Link, no, I'm not kidding, and the princess, Zelda Hyrule, go from region to region to recruit the best warriors of each. Princess Mipha of Zora's Domain, Boss Daruk of Goron City, Chief Urbosa of Gerudo Town, and Warrior Revali of Rito Village. They band up and vow to fight Calamity Ganon. Zelda tries and tries to awaken her sealing power, but fails again and again. Because of this, and the Calamity's surprise attack, the princess, hero, and champions lose the war. Not only that, but Zelda also loses her kingdom, her friends, her father, and nearly loses her hero. Zelda then goes to return the Master Sword to the Korok Forest and turns to the castle, her home. She holds Calamity Ganon at bay inside a cocoon in the castle's sanctum as her hero rests in the Shrine of Resurrection. Finding out how long she waits for Link is simple. She waits 100 years while still keeping her old form. Wowzer, what's her skincare routine? With this knowledge, we're going to make the assumption that Link is your average player and beats Calamity Ganon after 50 hours of adventuring. However, that's real-world time. In Breath of the Wild, each real-world second equates to 1 minute in the game. So doing some simple math, every 24 real-world minutes is 1 in-game day. However, because Link is human, or Hylian rather, he needs to rest too. So let's also assume that Link sleeps in a bed or at a campfire each night for 8 minutes real time, 8 hours in-game. So for Link doing things, if it takes 50 hours to beat BOTW, that means 3,000 real-world minutes, which is a total of 125 in-game days. Accounting for Link's sleeping, that's an extra 8 in-game hours for each in-game day. So 8 times 125 equals 1,000 more in-game hours, or 41 2/3, we'll round up to 42, more in-game days. That means Link spends a total of 167 in-game days trying to save Zelda. Wow, that's long. But to be fair, man's lost his memories and all his vitality, so can you really blame him? This means that, once Link saves Zelda, she is roughly 117 and a half years old, but is physically 17. The count right now is that Zelda has waited 100 years and 167 days. A long time to be sure, but nowhere near the end. No. For that, we need to go a little bit into the future. To quickly preface, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, taking place, well, we don't actually have a concrete time frame between the two games. Thanks, Nintendo! We'll get to that later, though. Anyhow, for a quick summary, Link and Zelda go to investigate a strange occurrence under the castle and find a wrinkly old corpse being held down by a magical hand. That wrinkly old corpse is actually the Demon King himself, Ganondorf of the Gerudo. He then sends Gloom over to attack the two, and although Link tries defending Zelda, Ganondorf's Gloom shatters the Master Sword, Metroid's Link of all of his hearts. How do you get those extra 2, by the way? And all of his stamina. Link also has his arm mortally wounded, and Zelda falls into the abyss, disappearing with a strange stone, and Link is pulled up by the previously stated magic arm. Link then wakes up in the Room of Awakening on the Great Sky Island, and is tasked with finding Zelda. He is aided and directed by the source of his new magic arm, Rauru, the first king of Hyrule, Zonai. Link then completes the trials of the Great Sky Island and makes his way to Lookout Landing to get info from Purah. And then employs the help of the new champions. Link is also tasked with finding geoglyphs containing dragon tears from the newly introduced Light Dragon by Impa. For some strange reason, the tears detail how Zelda was transported to the distant past, to the founding of Hyrule. These memories show her interactions with the past Hyruleans and the events leading up to, of, and after the First Imprisoning War. Then, in Memory 17, Tear of the Dragon, we finally realize why we've been receiving these visions from the Light Dragon and why it doesn't have a name like the other dragons. It's because we already know her name. The Light Dragon is Zelda. She draconified herself in order to revitalize and give more power to the Master Sword, in order to deliver herself and it to her present-day hero. What a true sacrifice. Except it wasn't! In a meta sense. Nice try, Nintendo. Thinking that not showing the damage count of the Master Sword and taking away the Champion's Tunic's ability to see the HP of enemies would make us not see that the Master Sword still does 30 damage? That's less than Breath of the Wild. After the trial of the sword, of course. So, after all that time that Zelda has been curating the sword that seals the darkness, it still does 30 damage? Nintendo baffles me. Anyways, Link and the sages then go and fight Ganondorf's army in the depths. And then Link faces one of the most epic final bosses of all time.
I am not
Like, seriously, this made me shit my pants.
Alright, shut up, my guy. We get it. Ooh, you don't know my power. Ooh, sick transformation. Wait, huh? What? Why is it stopping? What the? Whoa! What the? What the? No!
Then, Ganondorf, in a desperate last-ditch effort to kill Link, draconifies himself, gnashing Link and his maw to the skies. The Light Dragon then comes to Link's aid and helps him fight the Demon Dragon. In the end, Link kills the Demon Dragon and gets transported to an ethereal plane where he, Rauru, and Queen Sonia all help de-draconify Zelda. Link then wakes up falling, seeing Zelda below him, and we get probably one of the coolest endings to a Zelda game ever. Alright, now for the math. Why more math? Because Zelda draconifies herself, of course. She's coming from the founding of Hyrule all the way to the present day. So we've got to figure out the time between BOTW and TOTK. Got it? Alright, let's get to calculating. It isn't clear how long after BOTW TOTK is. Thanks again, Nintendo. But we can make a good guess. In Tears of the Kingdom is a little Gerudo named Madison, the daughter of Hudson and Ronson. Back in BOTW, after the best side quest in any video game ever, from the ground up, the two get married. So the fact that they have a child is interesting, because in TOTK, there's a questline titled Madison's Independence, where, after liberating Gerudo Town of its Gibdo problem, a group of Gerudo go to Terry Town to retrieve Madison for a coming-of-age ritual all Gerudo undergo. After the Gerudo, quote, start being more aware of the world around them, any Gerudo outside of Gerudo Town has to go back home in order to learn the ways of becoming a worthy Gerudo. Firstly, according to flowingdata.com, with the assumption both Hudson and Ronson seem to be in their mid-30s during the events of BOTW, the website shows that, on average, a married couple at 35 would have a child after 2 years of marriage. Secondly, Ronson had to be pregnant, so add 9 months. Thirdly, because of Madison's appearance and ability, according to the Children's Hospital of Orange County, she should be able to dress herself around the ages of 8 to 9, which is vital because she's moving cross-country. Let's go for a happy medium and say that Madison is 8 1/4 to cleanly integrate with her mother's pregnancy. This means that Tears of the Kingdom takes place 11 years after Breath of the Wild, to my estimation. Jesus, does this feel like if I were to claim that Wario was 10 feet tall, or that Sans was Ness. But that's what the math dictates. I assumed that 5 years had passed on my first playthrough, but 11? Jeez. Anyhow, calculating how long it takes for Link to save Zelda in this game is simple, because the same conversion of 24 real-world minutes to 24 in-game hours still applies. Let's again also assume that Link sleeps in a bed or at a campfire each night for 8 minutes real-time, 8 hours in-game. So for Link doing things, if it takes 59 hours to beat TOTK, that means 3,540 real-world minutes, which is a total of 147.5 in-game days. Accounting for Link sleeping, that's an extra 8 in-game hours for each in-game day. So, 8 times 148 equals 1,184 more in-game hours, or 49 1/3 more in-game days. This means that Link spends a total of 196 5/6, we'll round up to 197, in-game days trying to save Zelda. So, for TOTK, we've got a total of 11.5 years to account for. Adding up BOTW and TOTK, that means a total of 112 years of time has passed since the fall of Hyrule. This means Link is physically 29. Jeez, pushing 30 and still looking good. What's his skincare routine? But why didn't I mention Zelda? Well, she became an immortal dragon for a couple eons. Nothing big. That means that we've got to look at Hyrule's vast, confusing history and quantify it in order to see how long Zelda was in stasis for. So, remember how I said that BOTW contained an 100-year slumber for Link because he failed to prevent the second Great Calamity? Well, the reason it was the second was because the first happened 10,000 years before the memories of Breath of the Wild. And while I do know that in Japan, saying something took place 10,000 years ago is just an expression for a long time, I'm going to take this literally.
Bite me!
Now, if I try to do the same process I did with every game I did BOTW and TOTK, we'd literally be here all day. This means that I'm going to make a lot of assumptions because of the already confusing nature of the Zelda timeline. And because Aonuma doesn't care.
What a sick joke!
If the Sheikah had such advanced technology 10,100 years before Breath of the Wild, and the Zonai had such advanced technology at Hyrule's founding, tech isn't really a good gauge for time. As such, because Zelda time travels to the founding of Hyrule, even though it's contested if this is truly after Skyward Sword, and because the 10,000 year gap for Breath of the Wild was a way Nintendo could soft reboot the series, I'm going to assume a clean 15,000 years passed for the events of all games and all of their unspoken events in between to occur. I feel that's not only fair, but as close to a true number as we're gonna get. And with that, we have our final verdict. In total, In Breath of the Wild, we chronicle 10,201 years. We have to count the 100.5 again because Zelda waits that twice. In Tears of the Kingdom, we add another 11.5 years. Let's round up to 12 for a clean number. And for the rest of the Zelda series, we account for a vernacular 15,000 years. For a grand total of 25,213 years that Zelda was in the form of the Light Dragon. 25,213 years of powering up the Master Sword with her holy light. 25,213 years of waiting. And that's the worst part, isn't it? Waiting that long just to see your love once more. Waiting to reunite with the man who, despite clashing with him, protected you, fought tooth and nail for you, nearly died for you, twice. He always put your life over his, not only because it was his sworn duty, but because it was his life's aim. And now you can repay the favor 10,000-fold with the true sacrifice of your mind, body, soul, and everything that made you, you. You put yourself in stasis for 25,213 years, not only for your kingdom, your people, but for him. For there to be just a chance to give him victory in the now distant future. And you have to wait. But even though you had to wait, thankfully, you didn't feel a thing.
No, I understand. I had been sleeping all this time. But when I felt something, like a warm, loving embrace, I woke up. Oh, Link, I'm home.
Thank you all for watching another one of my videos. And thank you all so much for the support, growth, and love y'all gave to my last video. I couldn't ask for a better community. Also, here's a shout out to Nave, the composer of Cyber Grill and many other great songs and mashups, for being an awesome guy and supporter. His Big Shot X Ad Infinitum remix is my favorite. Also, shout out to this guy. He asked nicely. And repeatedly. And with that, here's a cheers and a wholehearted thank you to you, the viewer. Like, comment, subscribe. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. And it's my honor to say, but hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. And thank you for being one of my greatest inspirations, MacPat. Have a happy retirement.